6 o'clock, so we can go ahead and start. I'd like to welcome everyone out tonight. My name is Paul Sample. I'm the mayor of Beaver Dam. And first, I'd like to start this meeting out to let everyone know this is a meeting I call. This is not a city meeting. This is not a wet meeting. This is not a dry meeting. Just so everybody know, I called and decided this is a good opportunity to get everybody together, just to hear some information, share some information with each other, and start trying to think, okay, where to have this at. So I talked to Chris and some of them that we could use the Beaver Dam Fire Station as a place where we can get in and be warm, plenty of room, restroom facilities, and we're kind of limited in town where we can go do this for this crowd. So that's why we're here. I just want to make that part clear. The second part I want to talk about a little bit is my getting involved in this. When this first started out, Michael Atkins, I don't know if you all know Michael, he's the one who did start the petition here last spring. And he came and asked me some questions, what's involved, how do you do it, and like this. And I gave him the information he requested, just like I would have anyone else. And I had not planned on getting too involved in this. This was something I felt like was up to the citizens of Beaver Dam to vote on. But then, back last fall, I started seeing some information come out, and it really bothered me. I know there's people who are passionate for and those who are passionate against. But when the information comes out as being skewed and being people misled, taken out of context, I just thought this was something that needed to be done. My first venture of it was I come across a thing on Facebook where someone had talked about talking to the Hopkinsville mayor and about how bad alcohol had been for Hopkinsville. I was sitting here thinking, I've talked to a dozen, 15, 20 different cities close to Beaver Dam size, but I never went anything that big. So I thought, well, I'll call the mayor of Hopkinsville and find out what's going on. Only to find out that none of it was true. There was no conversation with the Hopkinsville mayor. All the information was incorrect. Well, just made up. And then I started seeing some other stuff talking about the money that would or would not come. The DUIs is going to skyrocket. And I'm like, that's not the information I'm getting. So I just wanted to share with you tonight a little bit about what I can. And all I ask is for everyone to make an informed decision. I don't care how you vote, if you vote yes or no. This is going to be something the citizens are going to have to decide what they want, because there are going to be consequences and ramifications either direction. But I want to start out a little bit with the city finances and their revenues, and just how the city gets their revenue. A lot of people don't realize this, but cities are very limited on how they can raise revenue in the state of Kentucky. One way, as everyone is familiar with, is the property tax. A second way is a tax such as we have with the insurance premium tax. There is some other things you can do, like we did the restaurant tax. Again, a lot of that money is specified for tourism. We were able, by thinking outside the box, to get some assistance from a mayor of Eastern Kentucky that had already done it. We were able to make some things work with the way the park is set up with our ball fields. That could all be considered tourism, so we can take all of our park and rec out of the Beaver Dam General Fund and take it out of tourism money. Now, that's only, of course, a part of it, so the rest of it has to be spent on tourism. Thus, we have the amphitheater and everything else going on out here. Another way a city can raise money is an occupational tax. I'm sure everyone's familiar with it. We looked at it a couple of years ago. We have the 1% occupational tax, which is hitting all of the workers and all the businesses. So that's what we're limited on what we can do. That's it for a city to raise revenue. We can't do a sales tax. We can't do a whole lot of the other stuff that the states and even some counties can do. Just to give you an example of where we're at, Beaver Dam's property tax rate for this year, which was set last fall, is 0.272. That's basically 27.2 cents per $1,000 of assessed value. And I hear a lot about Central City and Greenville and Hartford, so in comparison, Central City's property tax is 0.265. Theirs is a little lower than ours. Greenville's is 0.283. They're a penny or so higher than ours. And Hartford's is 0.550. The insurance premium tax, all four cities have one. Beaver Dam's is 6.9. Central City's at 8. Greenville's at 11. And Hartford's is at 10. And then of those, of course, Central City and Greenville have the restaurant tax. Central City obviously has the alcohol tax. And Hartford has the 1% occupational tax. And that's something good or bad, I can say that I give a lot of credit to not necessarily me and my commission, but the ones over the last 20 years has been very good about trying to be very frugal on how they spend their money and be very careful. We want to try to keep taxes low. I heard a comment on the radio last week on the Beaver Dam taxes keep going up, and I think the term was we're rolling smoke. The Beaver Dam property tax rate in 2003 was 25.2 cents. per 1,000. In 13 years, we've raised our property taxes by 2 pennies, 2 cents. A homeowner with a $75,000 home is paying $15 a year more in taxes now than they paid in 2003. Again, that comes back, good or bad, to the frugality of the past commissions. They tried to be very wise on how they spent the money and tried to keep those tax rates as low as possible. But it comes to a point where something's going to have to give. As everyone knows, funds from an alcohol tax, it goes to police and safety, primarily the police is what it's for, but there are some loopholes with that. So that would be for Beaver Dam and our police department. Just an example, in the last year, Beaver Dam collected about $380,000 in property taxes. Our police department budget for expenditures this year is $445,000. So folks, again, it comes back to the point of dollars and cents with the whole lot of this. I know there's been comments made about, and some detrimental comments made about, well, if this comes as Beaver Dam gets the money, the county's left out, and I've heard that from several people too. But just a point of clarification, Hartford has a 1% occupational tax, which many Beaver Dam residents pay if they work in Hartford. Beaver Dam doesn't get a penny of that. So, we don't get a penny of Owensboro taxes, we don't get a penny of anybody else's taxes. That's the way the state laws are set up. So that's a little bit of background on the revenue of what's going on and what kind of that need here tonight, because the citizens are going to have to decide. Revenue's going to have to come from somewhere. We can do something like an alcohol tax where the users pay it, or we'll have to raise taxes somewhere else. It's as simple as that, and I don't know how to make it any simpler, and I don't know how to make it any less painful, but that's part of it. Now, we got involved a little bit more talking with the alcohol tax, and I've done a lot of research just because I wanted to know what was going on. I wanted to be able to answer some questions. And I don't know if anybody heard, I was on the radio show today with Jerry, and I told him, if there was not a wet city within an hour or two of Beaver Dam, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation. But the fact is, alcohol is already here, and it's very readily accessible. You've got it 15 minutes from us, you've got 30 minutes from us to the north, you've got 35 minutes to the east, and 30 minutes to the south. It's here. Our people go to these communities and they spend their money on those communities, and they leave their money there, they leave their tax money there, and anything else they may decide to purchase while they're there. Because I have a feeling most people, if you're running to Owensboro, you're going to go, you'd like to eat while you're there, you're going to run by Home Depot, Lowe's, wherever, whatever. That's just the fact of life. That's just the way it is. The U.S. Labor Department put out a report that in 2009, the average American spent $457 on alcohol. That equates to $9.13 per week. Anyone who knows anything about alcohol, and I don't know a whole lot, I will tell you I drink my beer in the summertime and I like a good bourbon. But I went and did a little checking with the Kroger ad. An 18-pack of Bud Light through next week is $14.49. A mid-range bottle of wine is $10 to $12. And then your hard liquor bourbon stuff's even higher unless you get the really small bottles. So the $9.13 per week is not a far-fetched number. I thought at first it was a little high when I first heard it. And then I started putting that number to some other communities around that I was getting information from. And it was all pretty much balancing out. But based on those numbers, and again, that's U.S. Department of Labor numbers, if Ohio County people age 25 and older average that's a $7.4 million impact they have on the economy somewhere. Right now, it's a simple city, Northborough, Auburn, and other places. And that's the problem I think we look at. That money's leaving Ohio County. If only 1/3 of those people purchased alcohol in the city of Beaver Dam, you're looking at about $110,000, $120,000 a year of tax revenue in the city. And that's just from all local residents. That doesn't count if anyone from outside the city buys any. And we all know that's going to happen. I want to talk about a little bit too about what should happen if it did pass. I've heard a lot of stories, and I talked to one mayor who kind of laughed. He said, we heard that there were going to be strip clubs up and down the street with drunks in the gutter. He said, we've been wet for about 3 years and I haven't found a drunk yet, and the strip clubs fell right up. I said, well, that's not something I hope we get into. That's just not something that's been coming up. But what we could expect, if it were to pass, is there are restaurants would be allowed to sell alcohol. Those restaurants would have to seat at least 50 people at table seating. Can't count a bar, like one of a cafe or whatever. They would have to receive at least 50% of the revenue from food sales. to apply for the license to sell beer, wine, spirits. We have 7 restaurants in the city of Beaver Dam that would qualify. Not saying they would do it. All of them may do it. None of them do it. I don't know. I haven't had that discussion with them because that's the owner of the restaurant's business and their determination if they want to do that or not. But right now we only have 7 that would qualify. I talked to an attorney with ABC, and I met him several times through the Kentucky League of Cities, which we're involved in, and he tells you they really watch this very hard. That's one thing they do watch because they've had a lot of problems with people. He said it was amazing when they first started doing this, and all this came about in some law changes over the last 7 or 8 years with the license for the restaurants like this. But he said you'd be surprised to go somewhere, they have a little room somewhere, they stick up a card table in the corner with a microwave oven and selling $1 pizzas. And of course, they were shut down. And this is something that they do watch very carefully. Of course, if the city were to go away, we'd have to have an ABC administrator. That's something they could watch that works in with our code enforcement as well as our law enforcement. Convenience stores and like the grocery stores would be allowed to sell beer. Some of them could possibly get a license for wine, but they could not do the hard stuff, the hard liquor. We could have retail package stores here. That number of license is based on the population of the county. With that being said, that would put us at about 9 or 10 for Ohio County. But there's also a stipulation in the law, and they have done this in most places, Central City being one of them, Lancaster and Manchester, some others we'll talk about here in a few minutes. The state went in and restricted it even more, mainly because of the size of the community. I think Central City was limited, I think Central City was limited to 5. I understand there's maybe 4 licenses being used down there now. Lancaster, I think, was 3. The discussion I've had with them, there would likely be no more than 3, maybe 4 licenses available here in Beaver Dam for a true packaged liquor store. But again, it comes back to it, the population of 3,600. Do we have enough population to support 3 or 4 liquor stores? So most likely, you'll see 1 or 2. Again, possibly maybe 3 or 4, but with the reality, we're probably looking at a couple. There are some licenses that can be involved with caterers and what have you to do stuff. There's been a lot of discussion about a bar, and that's one thing I've done a lot of research on. If Beaver Dam were to go away, because of our population, we cannot have a full-service bar. It's just not allowed in any city under 8,000. Now, there are some ways that can be changed, but in order for that to be changed, Beaver Dam would have to be wet. There would have to be another petition put together to say we want to go to full service, which is what they call a quota liquor by the drink license. And it would have to go back for a vote by the people again. It's not something that the city or the mayor can come up and change. It takes a whole other process. And most times in the city of our size, you just don't see that happening. But again, if it does, that's because the people decided they wanted to get the petition up and they wanted to vote on it. And again, kind of over here, we're still a democracy. So no worry about the city commission coming up in a couple months and putting bars in there. Another thing that we could expect, should alcohol pass, is tax revenue. That's money right now that's being spent every day by the citizens of Beaver Dam and Ohio County in Central City, Owensboro, and Baldwin. That tax revenue, granted, while it can only go to police and some safety, it frees up a lot of money we have in the general fund for other things. So that's what we're looking at from this standpoint. Again, it's kind of thinking outside of the box. You're kind of slipping in, I guess, sideways to get the revenue, but it opens up other revenue in the city, which we cut out the need, at least for a while, for any kind of tax increase. You also have more oversight on the sale of alcohol in Ohio County. We would have, like I say, ABC administrators watching all this stuff. We would have code enforcement people watching all this stuff. We have police officers watching all this stuff. And ABC watches it like you wouldn't believe. It's on a regular basis, they will go around and do some trials and try to send underage kids and minors in to buy stuff. He said they do it routinely on a regular basis. You would probably see a drop in some, I still think you see a drop in some of the younger kids getting down phone because I don't see a whole lot of bootleggers around anymore. And they're out there, folks. They're out there. But what need would there be for a bootlegger if you can go right here in town and buy it and not have to drive to get it? So that's some of the things of what to expect if it were to pass. Does anybody have any questions so far? I'm trying. Yes?
Is the city presently running on a deficit budget?
No, we are not. We have a small reserve and have had it for several years. But that's something, and I'll go back and tell you a little bit about why we'd like to try to keep a reserve. back in 2009, we had the ice storm. There was a lot of damage. And I know a lot of cities throughout the state were having a lot of problems. They didn't have the money to go take care of some of this stuff, to clean this up. Beaver Dam, I wish Larry was here to explain that. I think it was about $150,000 to $200,000. We were able to go ahead and pay and get our local contractors to clean this mess up. And it took 2 years to get some of that money back from FEMA. Most cities, Hartford was one of them, they had to borrow money to do that because they didn't have any kind of reserves. So we're very particular about watching those reserves and keeping something there just for that rainy day. Right.
On the number of package stores, is it not true that Central City was not held by state to have only 4 or 6, but they were told, as I understand, by the commissioner over there, that they were told by the state they could have 16 because of what you said, the population of Beaver County. And under the same criteria, the state now allows Ohio County, which would allow us, as you said, 9 to 10. It's not the state putting their hand over to cap it. It is the state now allowing there to be more package stores, and Beaver Dam could.
No. See, according to my comments I got from ABC in the last few weeks, no, that's not the case. They can't have it.
You talked to Mr. Rhodes?
No, I talked to our Beverage Control in Frankfurt.
Who's in charge of the Beaver County to know that best?
The people in Frankfurt who write the laws will know that best.
You think Mr. Rhodes, who's hard to govern that, would not know?
I'm just telling you what I learned from Frankfurt.
Mr. Rhodes was adamant.
I talked to Mr. Rhodes on several occasions too.
But you didn't ask him that question?
No, because I have my information I need from Frankfurt. That's the ones who govern it. Yes.
You mentioned a while ago about bootleggers, and you're saying that if the city goes west, there'll not be any bootleggers around?
I'd say that the market would be way down for them because no one's going to bootleggers in would be our kids who we're trying to keep alcohol away from.
Well, you know, I worked on the railroad for 42 years, and I worked out of Paducah, which is McCracken County, and it was a wet area, and they had more bootleggers down there than just about they had liquor stores. So, I mean, the bootleggers are going to be there. But also, in Central City, you know, they started out with 2 liquor stores. One on 431 and one downtown. And, of course, the people I've seen, about the only one that benefits from liquor sales are the people on the liquor license. And, of course, greed steps in, and of course they wanted to open the 3rd liquor store over on Bypass, and they went to a big rigmarole, and the 2 that was already there tried to stop the 3rd one from opening up because it would get into their problems. So, you know, I just can't see that just because liquor sales, how it's going to solve all these problems.
Well, it's like anything else. It's not going to solve all the problems. We're just looking from the standpoint that it's already there. Alcohol's there in Ohio County. And instead of letting this money leave, we're just looking at ways to try to keep it here in our community. Let us get the tax dollars off of it. Let our people benefit from what's being spent already by Ohio County residents.
Well, I don't know, it just, you know, in our school system and stuff, we're trying to teach our young people just to say no to drugs and alcohol, and now we're going to turn around and say, well, it's all right, you can get 21 years old, go out here and buy it.
It is all right when you get 21 years old, go out here and buy it. It's a legal product in the state of Kentucky, and they do that same.
But I just think like we're just counteracting what we're trying to teach our young people.
No, I don't think there's anyone here that wants our young people, underage minors, drinking. I'm a parent. I've got 2 kids, and one of those is still a minor. No, I don't want to drink. But I want to be responsible about how I teach them how things are in life. And when they get 21, they can make a decision for themselves if they want it or not. Okay, a couple other comments I want to talk about was some on economic development. And all this stuff, again, we deal with on a regular basis. We've had a number of folks, and I wish someone was here for county tourism. We've had a number of folks come in on different events and festivals, not only in Beaver Dam, but in the county, that don't stay in the county. I've had them tell me, we stay in Central City or we stay in Owensboro, we want to run here. Yeah. They can't get it here, they don't stay here. That's revenue we're losing. A lot of revenue we're losing. I know firsthand construction crews that are working on different projects here in the county that are staying long term, some of them a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 or 3 months. They're staying in Central City because after a long day of work, they want to have a beer. They can't stay at a hotel in Beaver Dam or Lyon County and have that. That's a lot of money that's being lost. That's revenue not just the liquor store, that's revenue to our hotel. That's revenue to the restaurants where they would eat while they were here. And again, it's stuff that happens every day. It's just sad to see those cars turn down the WK Parkway going west. And I know there's been issues with instances with people coming in at the hotel out here when they find out there's no place to go get a beer. They just say, well, where is the nearest one? And when they find out it's 30, 15, 40, and 30, they're on the road headed out. They're going to the next stop. So we're not only losing, again, overnight accommodations, stay, probably a meal or two, maybe some gas. That's all going to Central City. Let's go Owensboro Bowling Green. You know, we're really working to develop tourism here. I know it's very active here. A lot of people don't realize just how much tourism we do have here. I know the Building Road and the bluegrass music is really big. And I'm the first to admit it, I'm not necessarily a big fan. But that doesn't mean, just because I don't particularly care for it, doesn't mean it's not big here. There's people from all over the country and all over the world coming in to Ohio County, driving to Beaver Dam and Hartford to get to Rosine. It happens, folks. It's there every day. They're from all over. Had some information here that, well, okay, in the first year, we talked about the amphitheater. The first year of operation of the amphitheater, we had 5, 6 different concerts. We've had over 15 different states represented at either one show or another. We've had cars out there from California. We've had cars out there from Maine. We've had them from all the southeast and all around us. These people are coming to Beaver Dam now. I'm not naive to think that the California folks drove all the way in for that Thursday concert here in Beaver Dam. But they were here in Beaver Dam, and they probably wouldn't be, and they're not going to be a concert. Which one was it? Remember, it was 30-inch special or Merle Haggard. I think it was the Merle Haggard that had the biggest number of cars from out of state. And I remember my youngest son was out, and I was out on the gator in the parking lot. They were helping people come in and out from the cars to the show. And there was a young couple from Missouri we picked up right here at the highway in 231. I said, we'll haul you up and give you a ride up there. And I just got to talk to them. I said, I'm nosy. I said, I saw your license plate from Missouri. And they were from the Ozarks. They were even southwest of Missouri. And they came to Beaver Dam, Kentucky strictly because they saw Merle Haggard was going to be here. And they came in for that show. And they were going to spend a couple nights. Now, granted, they were going to spend one night here. And then he found out, and he did say they were probably going on to Owensboro Bowling Green. They hadn't decided for a couple nights because they couldn't decide whether to go to the bluegrass thing in Owensboro or go to the Corvette Museum in Bowling Green. But they go here just for that. So we're getting people in. It's not just the fact that you can't say anymore, well, no one's coming to Beaver Dam. I used to hear that thing all the time about when the tour buses come in. Well, the tour buses aren't coming in, but the people are coming in. But that is a big thing because this couple asked where they could go if we sold beer, if there was beer available at the show. If not, then where could they go get some? I'm sorry, folks, it's a dry county, and they kind of giggle about that. They weren't familiar with dry counties. We've got Hartford, our neighbors next door, who's working on this trail town with the canoeing and everything. There's a lot of potential coming up here for tourism. But according to Hank Phillips, who's the executive director of the National Tour Association, people expect to be able to have the option to have a drink for a meal, especially tourists. The availability of alcohol makes a difference when folks start looking for places to take a trip to. If the community wants tourists and other things to accommodate them, alcohol is an issue. Whether we want to drink it or not. This is what they're telling us, and I'm getting this from everywhere I've talked to. It is an issue with people if you want to develop tourism. That's what we're really trying to do. It also works with industry. I know, and this is something I thought very interesting. I'm going to read one more to you. Catawba, Kentucky, they passed a local option back in 2000. That's a city of about 500 down around Kentucky Lake. And they said they actually had to build a restaurant in order to have one to meet the criteria to be able to serve alcohol. They built a Santa Fe, opened in the fall of 2001. Right after that, said this small community then announced that they would be getting a $2 million plant which will bring 100 new jobs to the community. The Michigan-based plant they considered Clarksville, Tennessee, and other locations, and yet they chose Catawba, Kentucky. One of the officials with the new industry informed residents that the Santa Fe restaurant definitely played a part in their selection of Catawba. Catawba would never have been included on the list of possible locations the community had been dry. His reasoning was when they had clients in town, they wanted to be able to take them to a nice restaurant where they had a choice to drink or not. It's a quality of life issue among business and industry, and it's an expectation people have when when they come to an area. And most of them take it for granted. They're a little surprised when you don't have anything. I know we come in, I work for the Japanese, and I've heard it from people visiting our facility. And when they come to visit, they stay in Owensboro. It's just part of the culture. I had one person ask me, I said, well, somebody at the company I work for, say it's Japanese, our parent company is in Japan. And I was talking to some of the Japanese officials that were talking about here. In our factory in Japan, a lot of times they make lunch, some of the workers will go and have a glass of wine with their lunch. That's, again, it's just a culture thing, and a beer. And this lady asked me, she said, you wouldn't let them go to work drunk? I'm like, you don't get drunk, drink a glass of wine with a beer. You get drunk and you sit there and drink them over and over again. And I don't think anyone in this room wants that. There's all kinds of studies that are out there, and I know they have been on Facebook, they've been everywhere else. We've got the studies talking about how the DUIs have gone down in wet counties versus dry counties done by the University of Kentucky. I think that was on in assistance with the University of Connecticut. You've got the University of Louisville study that shows connection between counties that prohibit alcohol sales having greater times with meth use. The same University of Louisville study on meth use also included the Kentucky State Police records, also revealed that dry counties have higher rates of DUI-related car crashes than wet counties, possibly due to traveling longer distances to get alcohol from wet counties. Synthetic drug arrest rates are also higher in dry counties. And again, there's study after study after study. I'm not going to sit here and bore you with this, but some information I would like to bore you with. It's just some comments I got from some other cities and communities in the state of Kentucky that are wet. I went to visit the mayor of Cave City. For those of you not familiar, Cave City is around the Mammoth Cave area. Their population, if you look in the books, the population is 2,200 or something. But the mayor was quick to tell me they just annexed an apartment complex and a subdivision, and they're closer to 2,800 now in population. But I asked them what they did. They went wet and they were moist, and then went wet in December 2014. In 2015, they were online. And I met with him in December, so they didn't have December figures yet. But based on everything else they've done that year, they were online to bring in just over $300,000 into the city in tax revenue on alcohol sales. I asked him about their facility. They have one restaurant that serves at present. I think there's another in the talks. And they have two liquor stores. Neither one of them had drive-thru. One of them was in an old building downtown, and the other one was in a former convenience store that had like a Taco Bell in, so they had the window and everything there. And he got to talking. He said, I just got to talk to some of the management out there. And their corporate doesn't, they have several, they don't have drive-through windows because they felt like that would be their part to help the community. They said, you know, if you're out drinking and driving, you're more apt to go through a drive-through than you are to get out of your car and go inside and buy some alcohol. So that was just something that business did. I asked him DUI. DUI has not been an issue in Cave City. He said, if we've had any problems with DUIs, it's usually when they get someone off the interstate, not in the city itself. It's just not has been an issue. I've asked him, I said, did you see an increase in business activity? He said, yes, they did. He said, it has generated a lot of traffic in their city. Now, I couldn't ask him a whole lot about tourism because they were tourists to begin with. But he said, you know, as far as business and people getting involved, they had very little dissension when it was passed. He said, it was great for Cave City. It's provided revenue for the police department. And because it's helped the police department budget, normal revenue funds could be used for other items. And that was Cave City. Central City, we talked to the police chief, we talked to David Rose, we talked to the mayor, we talked to the city clerk. They're online to bring in about $300,000 a year in tax revenue. Central City population, I think, is around 5,900. I was told by the person I talked to, and I think my city clerk, and Mike, you might, I think you did too, that DUIs was really not a problem in Central City. I don't know about the comparison to Greenville. I didn't ask them how they compare to any other cities, but that's the information we're getting from Central City as far as DUI issues. And I did talk to David Rose. He said they've really not had any negative issues. That, you know, he kind of likes that they had no one lying in the gutters either, and that the revenue has been very helpful. Whitesburg, Kentucky, population 3,000. They went in 2002. They bring in about $120,000 a year in tax revenue with 5 restaurants and 2 stores. They've had some events that they have there. They've noticed a lot of the people are actually attending activities in Whitesburg or staying there because normally they would go to Pikeville, kind of like where we're having people went to Central City or Owensboro. He said the county was joined by the north of the Wake County and the east by Virginia, and they both sold it. So the citizens of Whitesburg realized that they were giving their tax dollars to neighboring counties that should be and could be kept right there in their own city. And it passed with a sizable margin in 2012. Princeton, Kentucky went wet in 2012 also. They're bringing about $160,000 a year in tax revenue. According to the mayor, on his email right here at Princeton, their DUIs decreased by about 40%. I asked if they had seen any kind of increase or differences in alcohol-related offenses, domestic violence, what have you, and according to the mayor of Princeton, that decreased by 50%. So they've had 2 liquor stores that have been very profitable based on the reporting of the city. They've had a few more tourists come in and eat some of the restaurants and come out the parkway to their stopping. And it said being wet also allows for possible new chain restaurants, which I know Princeton has been working on. And so this is somewhere else. Oh, he talked again. Princeton liked the beer and they could not allow the bars, but it's one of those things that I just don't see any reason why any community would not take advantage of this. Lancaster, which is another one, about 3,700, I think, is their population. They've been wet since 2008. Their revenue they bring in is a little over $100,000 a year, and they only have 1 liquor store. They've noticed that they've had a lot of businesses coming in. They've actually had people from surrounding counties coming in and doing a little more things. They've had one festival that they kind of started up and getting more people involved. And they have not had any problems. So they do have a lake nearby, so they've seen an increase in some of the boaters and lakegoers that will come on into town in Lancaster that used to didn't come there. And we just pass them on by. Again, it's been a good thing for their city. Dawson Springs, down here in Hopkins County, population 2,754. They've been wet since 2018. And she said they bring in about $60,000 annually in tax revenue. And she was quick to tell me, she said, one thing you've got to realize, we're here in the same county with Madisonville and just a few miles from Madison and Christian County. But they've been very happy. She said it has not hurt Dawson Springs. It's been a huge help for their police department budget. And of course, they're working on the Trail Town, similar to Parkland. They already have their Trail Town designation. They were the first one in the state of Kentucky, and they just see good things coming from it. Springfield, Kentucky, got this from their city clerk. They're bringing about $240,000 a year with their population of 3,600 people. Now, it has been wet there since the 70s. So she said, I can't tell you all up. She said, we don't have a problem with DUIs. They've never had really much of a problem with any other kind of alcohol-related offenses. And just said, I think our mayor and council would wholeheartedly agree that this has been good for their city. Franklin, Kentucky. I didn't talk to them directly. Our city clerk did talk to them down there. And, they've not had any issues with DUIs, and they've not really observed any increase in arrests. And the revenue has been very helpful for their police department. Manchester, Kentucky, population 1,420. They went wet in 2011. They bring in just over $150,000 a year in tax revenue off of it. And they have 7 restaurants and 2 package stores in town. 2 restaurants and they have 7 stores to sell. That includes all the convenience stores that sell beer. DUI rates, no noticeable increase. Other domestic-related, alcohol-related offenses, no increase. Did you see an increase in business activity? Yes, we've had a noticeable increase. Increased tourism. The sales helped the city of Manchester desperately, and tourism did increase and still increasing. Guthrie, this is one of my favorite little towns down in Todd County, right on the Tennessee line. Population 1,428. They went wet in 2011. I talked to their city clerk, and she laughed. She said, they really had no opposition at all to it. They had 2 package stores there, no restaurants. They bring in about $47,000 to $50,000 a year in tax revenue. Again, she said, you got to realize we're on the Tennessee line. Tennessee's all that. They don't have dry counties like we do here. And then they're also a Christian county right there to the west of it. So she said, we don't get a lot. We get a few people now that stop here instead of going to Tennessee. Now, Elton is the county seat there in Todd County. She said, we did have a little bit of dissatisfaction with folks from Elton because they wanted to know why I couldn't make it some of this money. Again, it had no opposition from anyone. They had people out of town coming in to purchase. It's helped the city's budget tremendously. Everything went very smooth and very positive. No issues with public intoxication or anything. And like I said, this is just a sampling of some of the communities I've talked to. I try to stay with those who are about our size. Like I said, they call Hopkinsville after that incident, but no use calling those from Bowling Green because our demographics are nothing alike, so there's no point in it. So, does anybody have any questions over any of that information? Okay, well that wraps up about what I want to talk about tonight. Like I said, I just wanted to get some information out there to everybody. Again, it's your conscience and your decision to make. But I do want people to realize the consequences. The city's in a position where we're going to have to do something. I know a lot of people, again, like I said earlier, I know alcohol is a very polarizing topic. But again, it's out there. It's not like it's new. It's not like it's going to come to Beaver Dam. If Beaver Dam goes wet, there's not going to be one person that's going to think, Beaver Dam's wet now, I think I'm going to start drinking. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. Those people are already doing it. I know there was some discussion about a percentage of people who can't handle their alcohol. They're already here. We're already fighting. We've been dry for all these years, and we still have some instances of DUIs, and we have instances of crime. We have instances of underage drinking. It's already here. There's nothing's going to change with that. I honestly believe that if anything, some of those numbers may be able to go down because we will have some funding to help our police department be able to beef it up, and we'll have a little more oversight on it. Yes?
We have a problem, and now that you want to capitalize off of it.
No, I don't want to capitalize.
And how can you say that there won't be anyone start drinking because it's here now and it wasn't?
Because it is here, man.
Yes.
It's here.
But you said it just won't happen. You cannot say it just won't happen.
Okay, I'll back up on that. Most likely it will not happen. Because, and it's true. But again, the alcohol's already here. It's nothing new. Nobody's going to find it all of a sudden because it's not bitter. It's here. And it's here a lot.
Well, I've lived here all my life, and I don't go around it. I can go find my groceries, do whatever. I can go in a gas station, not be offended by it. And now that I'm going to be offended. And we're selling our integrity for $1.
Well, I disagree, man, because I don't see any service on our table.
I prefer not to have it at my elbow.
But there's those here that would like to be able to get it a little more easy instead of driving to Central City.
Well, that's just tit for tat.
So who's right?
There's no right there, except I think we should have the opportunity. You're giving us this opportunity, and you spent an hour telling us all the good things.
No, I spent an hour telling you all everything that is fact. I can back every bit of mine. Again, it's up to you to make your decision. I just want to get information out there. Right?
The basic economic question is, does access and availability increase sales?
No.
Does it? Why does Owensboro have 5 or 6 McDonald's? Why instead of 1? Because they know that having one here increases sales. I'm not questioning, Paul, that people in Ohio County that drank 100 years ago, 50 years ago, today, tomorrow, and the idea that this is going to stop or start anything, but you cannot stand there as you're a bright guy, and you know that availability will increase sales. Sales will increase consumption. Consumption of alcohol always leads to a percentage of bad behavior, bad decisions. I've lived my life not talking about statistics and numbers and dollars, even though that's important in the city. But I've lived my life looking at the individual and the impact. I've seen people burned alive inside of a car because someone was drunk and hit them. I've seen my own students in school that went home and they burned up in a house because their parents were drinking and didn't go upstairs to warn them. I've seen it time and time again. And for us, yes, those that are drinking, I would rather they be inconvenienced if it's going to save 10 children's lives. I have seen mothers come into school on Monday morning with their eyes blackened because their husband, who was a great guy normally, but in a situation where alcohol took control, beat her up.
And that happened in a dry county.
And it happened, but again, are you denying that sales will not go up by one bottle, one can, one pint because of availability? Instead of me getting a case, maybe I'll get 2 cases. Oh, and then a second thing. It's just a fact, Paul, that in school business, you have children that have, we don't like to admit, but they have gotten into their parents' prescriptions. And they have suffered some dire consequences because of that. They just did that because kids are into adventure and they fear no danger. And so you're saying it's not going to increase because the liquor is in the refrigerator right next to the milk. You said it has no impact at all? Paul, I think you're saying things that, and I don't know in the cities that you're talking about, has the average income of those citizens in those cities, has it gone up? Has unemployment gone down? Has their quality of life improved? I think not. I've been in several places, and I do not see a place other than something, a big industry come in that has, and I still don't think that a Toyota is going to come here because, oh, you sell alcohol. I think they're going to come here because of the workforce, the educational level, transportation capabilities. Not, oh, yes, the breaker is so you don't have alcohol here. And I think you're being slight-handed with the facts.
And you have your opinion to think that. And I appreciate your comments. Do I think it will cause more alcohol being sold? I'm not really sure because I have friends that do drink. When they go to Owensboro Central City, they'll buy 4 or 5 cases at a time.
I have friends that do that
So
too.
if they can buy it locally, they probably won't buy that kind of quantity.
It is a fact of economics. That's the reason we have different stores, because they sell more. That's the reason alcohol businesses want to come here, they can sell more. They know they can sell more. And you're being disingenuous to say that you don't know that. You know that's true.
I know the stores will sell. They'll have to make a profit to stay in business. But at the same time, you've got a Walmart that's going to come here because they can sell more. You may have any other business come here because they can sell more. They're selling a legal product, and that's something that I don't know that I have the right to tell somebody, whether it's Michael or whoever that wants to, they can't do it.
I just hate the idea that there are going to be people that suffer. Kids are going to be hurt. Families are going to be in a more abusive situation. Fact. People that, because of the decision, I know what happens now.
It
But what if
happens now.
it increases 1%? Can we live with that? Is that just collateral damage? I think not.
But I don't know if it's going to be as bad as you think, Larry, because I look at all these other communities. You don't see them all falling apart in Owensboro, Baldwin, and Central City. You don't see these problems in these other communities. We know it's there to some extent, but when alcohol comes in, I don't know that it skyrockets or goes up even to 1%. I can't say that. I can't say it won't. But I can say is that the alcohol is here, it's readily available here, and we're going to get away to just control that a little bit and have some oversight on it.
And I'm not here to judge those who drink and don't drink. It's that I see the danger being just way too great. Because I've seen it in a dry county all my life, and you'd like to take some of that pain away. But when a child is dead, they're dead. And it's heartbreaking.
You can use that argument in so many different scenarios other than alcohol.
But you know that alcohol is involved in most of the fatalities on the highway?
Okay, we're going to go. We had some people that did sign in that like to have a few minutes to talk. And the first one on the list is Michael Atkins.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right. Yeah. I know a lot of you don't know who I am, so just to give you a background of me, my name is Michael Atkins, originally from Bowling Green, Kentucky, so I'm not a native to Ohio County or Beaver Dam. About 7 years ago, I met my beautiful wife, who is a native here. For the past 18 years, I've been in the United States Army. I've done 3 tours, 2 to Baghdad, 1 to Afghanistan. Currently still serving in the military. Got a couple more years left until I retire. I call Beaver Dam home. This is where I plan on retiring at. I love the city. My wife and I, together, we have 5 children. My oldest is 19, currently at KWC in Owensboro. My youngest is 5. I have a strong Christian faith, a strong Christian background. I belong to Beaver Dam Baptist Church. And as I look around, when I lived in Bowling Green, I was very active in my church there. I did a lot with youth. I look around Beaver Dam, and I don't see a lot of youth, anything. And one of the things that I try to say, what can we do? How can we bring money? Because, unfortunately, those little green paperback things make the world go around. There's no other way to slice it. Nothing else we can say about it. That's what you have to have in order to make things go. All right? So, for that to happen, we've got to generate some kind of income in our city. We have to, as citizens. Started talking to Paul, and I was like, alcohol. Alcohol is a necessary evil. All right? You talk about, Mr. Ember, you talk about you've seen kids burning, and I've seen the faces of evil. All right? I've been in battle. I've seen people die. I've seen that stuff. I feel your pain. I've seen it. I've been a traffic accident investigator for the United States Army. I've been a juvenile investigator. I've been a general crimes investigator. And I was a DWI instructor. I can tell you facts when it comes to alcohol-related incidents, domestic violence, alcohol-related crimes. DUI does not just include alcohol. It includes narcotics as well. Now, when you arrest somebody, officers, please correct me if I'm wrong, when you get somebody on DUI, it's not always annotated in the reports as narcotic versus alcohol. It is rolled into a DUI arrest, correct? Okay. So, those lines are blurry. So you can't always say Beaver Dam or Owensboro or Bowling Green had this many DUIs and say alcohol is to blame. Ohio County has a huge meth problem. Fact, we know that. Meth is an illegal substance. Our Ohio County Sheriff's Department, Kentucky State Police, Beaver Dam Police Department have a task trying to deal with that. And instead of us as citizens saying, let's put our time and energy to fight that fight, we're saying, let's fight a legal substance in America. Let's say no to this that's going to generate income to our community to help our guys out, to free up other funds to bring good stuff into our community. So those are my things. I don't drink. I've been in the Army for 18 years, and I know that's hard to believe. I don't smoke. I don't drink. The Army has not corrupted me that much. But I look at the economic value. I want to see where, not so much what lies for me in Beaver Dam, but my 5-year-old, when he grows up, what lies for him in Beaver Dam 15 years, 20, 30 years from now. And right now, there's nothing that says he needs to stay here. There's a couple jobs, a couple factories, but nothing sustainable, nothing great that says I'm going to stay here. And I want Beaver Dam to be great. You know, is it going to be the size of Bowling Green or Owensboro? Maybe not. Do we as a community want it that big? Probably not. But we want to express the great things that we do have and the qualities that we have. Now, I believe 10 years ago, 2010, 12 years ago, was the last petition to go west. And since then, nobody has come up with a solution to generate more income into the city. Have they? Not to my knowledge. This is a solution. And sometimes we have to embrace that necessary evil. Also, freedom of choice. You know, I don't know how many veterans are in the audience, but every veteran has fought and died and bled for your freedom of choice. So freedom of choice is, if it's available, you have the right to choose to drink it, or you have the right to choose not to drink it. But it's not your choice to sit there and say, no, don't even have it. That's like the atheist saying, I want the 10 Commandments out of the church, or I want the pledge out of the school. It's not because it's offensive. That's not our right to take that stuff away. As Americans, we don't choose that. We have that freedom because so many people have fought and died for that freedom. When it comes to parenting and kids, it's time for parents to be parents instead of being friends. You know, in my house, my kids know that I love them and I'm their friend and I'm their buddy, but when it's time to parent, it is time to parent. And if they require a swift kick in the butt, guess what? They get a swift kick in the butt. Doesn't take away the fact that I love them. And to classify everybody who drinks as an alcoholic or a drunk, or everybody who drinks is going to be somebody that's going to go beat their wife or beat their kid, is ridiculous. 1% of the population of any demographic creates 99% of the problem. Proven fact. No matter what your skin color is, no matter what your religious preference is, 1% is the bad apple. Let's see. One of my biggest issues, and I'm sure y'all read my Moving Beaver Dam Forward posts. One of my biggest issues are people from outside of Beaver Dam fighting this fight. All right, I know that I've got some people that live inside the city limits that disagree with this, and that's fine, and I respect everybody's opinion on it. But not one person that I've met that lives inside the city limits of Beaver Dam has fought as hard as people outside the city limits of Beaver Dam. And my opinion on that is focus on your town. If we as a community, as we as a county, would put as much time and energy into our own communities, God knows how great Ohio County would be. This is the citizens of Beaver Dam's election. Nobody else. So when you sit there and say, vote no, and it doesn't pass, and then the mayor and his committee goes, we have to generate income, and then everybody in the city of Beaver Dam's property tax go up. Are the citizens of Hartford going to help us pay our property tax? No, because it doesn't affect you. It affects us. That is our stuff. This allows jobs and economics into our community. All right? It's going to allow a couple package stores, which will create employment, an ABC job. You can shake your head, Mr. Henry, but it does. You cannot argue the fact that it does not create jobs. It does. It will create. Will it bring a Texas Roadhouse into Beaver Dam? No, we don't have the population to support it. But does it give some mom and pop the ambition to go make a steakhouse? Possibly, which will create jobs for cooks and servers and managers. It creates those ambitions for our community. You're not going to get rid of all the evil. You have to be realistic. You have to have an open mind when you talk about this. All right? You're not going to create a non-alcoholic community or a non-domestic violence community. But I want to tell you, those who are violent, guess what? They're already violent. Those who are domestic violence people, those who are abusers, are already abusers. And 9 times out of 10, statistically proven, you are a product of your environment. So if you grow up in a violent home, 9 times out of 10, you're going to grow up to be a violent person. If you grow up in a home where there's alcoholism, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be an alcoholic. Those are proven facts. And that falls back on us as adults, setting the right example and setting us to move forward responsibly. Alcohol is not a sin, no matter which way you cut it. It is taking it and being irresponsible with it that makes it a sin. Availability here will increase the sale because it's not here. Like, it's not here as a legal substance where we can purchase. So if you open up a package store and you sell that one, yes, it's already increased. And our economics has already increased with that one sale. And that tax revenue that we're going to get has already increased and improved our living condition. Every year, cost of living, inflation, all that stuff dictates what this man and this committee has to do for our city. So, as responsible adults, because again, we're going to have that 1% that's going to abuse it. You have to be realistic. You have to know that. But guess what? I don't think there's one police officer back there, one in Hartford, or one state trooper that does not know how to do their job and isn't proficient and competent enough to do it. So they can take care of that 1% that does the bad thing. because they know how to do their job. So we, as responsible citizens, will take this and move forward in our community in a responsible manner. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
John Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I'm not a speaker. My heart is still pounding very hard. You presented facts that are correct, so that they're on paper. Mr. Emery, I'm still shaking because you're doing this out of love. You're doing this out of love. And when I was sitting there, what tore me up so bad was my father died at 49 years old. And how many times I heard someone on their knees do what you just did. And it never did any good. 49. We moved to Beaver Dam from Louisville because that was one of the answers. He died in their dry county. I'm an alcoholic. I haven't had a drink in 16 years. My family suffered. They're the ones that need to cry. But Mr. Emery, I know you're doing it out of love. But let me tell you the alcoholic side. Not everyone is an alcoholic. The reason I don't drink now is because I finally found out that I used to think I wasn't hurting nobody but myself. But I was hurting others. And I was jeopardizing lives. But when we talk about what's the answer, let me tell you something that helped me. That gentleman back there wearing that badge. But the thing of it is they have fought this battle with budgets, and I was never penalized. I bought the majority of my alcohol, guys, the past 5 years that I drank from bootleggers, because an alcoholic doesn't care how much it costs. But the reason I done it was because I tried to figure out every possible way to drink like a person that could drink, because I thought it helped. I thought it helped. So I would go to the local bootleggers right here in Beaver Dam, my county, to get me off the road. I tried to control it, to continue on. So rather than me chance myself going to Owensboro and buying a fifth and a case and starting on it, then I was going to run into the guy in the blue suit, or I was going to hit somebody, and my wife would beg me not to do it. Let me tell you what. As I say again, I haven't had to use alcohol in several years. It'll be 16. And the way I look at it, not everyone's like me. And a lot of people are going to use alcohol and they're not going to do like I did. But for the ones that do like I did, let's penalize them. Let's make them pay that tax right here in our community. No, it ain't right. It ain't right that people get like I was, but they're out there. So let's put all the money we can in that guy with that badge carrying that gun is supposed to protect us. Let's keep them that money. We're never going to change anything about an alcoholic, guys. Mr. Emery, if you could have, I know you would have. Because I know people like you love. vote yes. I don't use it. But I don't think it was the alcohol. It was John Smith. And I finally got myself in church. I love what I'm learning there. I'm sorry I got emotional, but Mr. Emery, I remember being a little fella and hearing those words, just the way you said it. And I thought a lot of times it would work, but it didn't work. Let me tell you what happens to people like me. They're either locked up, they die, or they're total abstinence from alcohol. But that shouldn't affect everyone else. Man, I thank y'all. I'm sorry, but it really, I wish it had helped. Thanks, guys.
Larry, I've talked enough tonight. I really had so. And I understand that, John, and I have to say that I still have to do everything that I possibly can. If it just helps one person not go through what you went through.
Help this man right here. Let's put him in his pocket what he needs.
I think a lot of it, and I've seen that good people that gave in to alcohol and then just consumed it. But the economic, I want to say the economic thing, and actually I think it's about 14% of the people who drink become abusive. They're abusive when they drink, about 14%, according to UK UL study. But the economic issue, even if it just increases sales by 5 or 10%, that money's got to come from. If I spend $20 for a pint over here, then I don't have that $20 to spend at Tractor Supply. I don't have that money to spend at Goodies or at Hibbett's. I don't have that money to spend somewhere else. When I spend that money here, that's money I don't have to use in good businesses that have been the foundation of Ohio County society ever since I was a boy. Because when I use that money here, and I know it's being used, I know it is, but if we can save as many dollars as we can, we want to help Ohio County, I'd say do more shopping in Ohio County. If we want to help Ohio County, let's foster a child. Let's mentor a child in school. If we want to help Ohio County, let's don't send alcohol out. And I'm not being naive. The number of people who are going to drink tomorrow is the same as drank yesterday and today. But we do not have to contribute to it. I see Beaver Dam doing some great things. They have brought in some stores that amaze me. I didn't think it could ever come, but it's happened. But I know it's tough, and some of them just hanging on. But if we take 1% of the revenue, we're going to lose those stores at the price of what we say is economic development. I want to keep these stores. I want to keep these stores that hire Ohio County family people. People, Ohio Countyans, we have that in our blood. And so I just want to urge, everything was done properly. The signatures were done properly. Everything was done properly. There's been some name calling that I wish hadn't happened. Maybe on both sides. But I don't think any from the group of Ohio County Citizens for a Safe and Sober Society have hurled any of those. They've come, I know they have, Paul. They say, you Bible thumpers ought to just shut up. But we are citizens of Beaver Dam, and we have a right to stand up. That's the reason this meeting is here. And I just want to urge the people of Beaver Dam, just divide in your heart. If we can just help one, if we can keep one family, we can't keep them all. I wish we could. But if we can keep one family from going through what every person in this room has seen a family go through, There's not a person in this room that can say, I do not know a single person that has been negatively impacted by alcohol. All of us have. A young preacher, a friend of mine, put a gun to his head because he had that demon of alcoholism. And it broke my heart. But if we just do, and I don't think increasing sales is going to solve the problem. I want to stand against it, and I hope you'll stand with me.
Could I ask a couple of questions?
Okay.
Sign up to speak, but I just like to ask a couple of questions. I do live in Beaver Dam, by the way.
Okay.
Right here across the street down in Madison. But there's just a couple of questions I'd like to ask. You talk about alcohol being legalized and the tax revenue, and we talk about the meth problem. Why don't we legalize pot and meth, and that way we get taxed off it? You know, you talk about economy. Now, everybody's read the reports now, just like I did, read a report, you know, in the counties in Kentucky that went wet since 2000, none of them has actually prospered economically. You had unemployment to go up and different things. Now, you talk about not, you know, what's keeping people in Beaver Dam is Muhlenberg County is wet. What keeps them people in Muhlenberg County? You want your child to grow up and work in a restaurant and make $3 an hour serving alcohol? Is that the livelihood that's going to be brought into Beaver Dam? You know, alcohol is not going to bring industries or businesses or anything. You know, we got Tractor Supply. They come here. The beer didn't bring Tractor Supply.
No,
But I know you talk about making money. Now, Beaver Dam, and a lot of people probably going to get mad when I say this, but my son-in-law, Jason Crabb, when they were singing, tried to have a crab fest here every year, and did for a few years until finally Ohio County run them off. And they moved to Orangeburg and started having their crab fest. And look at the thousands of dollars that brought in. But people was greedy. They were scared that the crab family was going to make $1 off having that crab fest here. But yet all the businesses brought in thousands of dollars. But they run them out of Ohio County, and they went to Orangeburg and started having the crab fest. You know, if Ohio County, if Beaver Dam wants to have something to make money, bring in something to bring these crowds in. Them people like you was talking about with the Rosine, the Bluegrass Festival, that hillside is covered with motor homes and stuff. When I worked on the railroad, we had to reduce our speed and be careful going through, afraid we were going to run over somebody going to the fest. That thing was covered with thousands of people. They wasn't up there buying because they could buy beer and alcohol. They was up there enjoying the music. You know, people who want it. The people you talk about coming in for these festivals, they came here and for the music, not for the alcohol. And there's just so many things that you talk about Home Depot and stuff. People, sure, they go to Owensboro and they eat and have a few drinks. But they do it because they're going over to go shopping at Home Depot or Lowe's or JCPenney or the mall or something. They say, well, we're over here, we'll go ahead and get a bite to eat. Alcohol, like you say, is not going to bring in. And when I lived, and like I said, I grew up in Central City. I can tell you a lot about Central City, but I moved over here 20 years ago. My wife's from over here. And, the same thing said over there. We go wet, we're going to get these Texas Roadhouse, just like I read one post on Facebook. These glad when we get our Outback. Alcohol's not going to bring Outback in here. It's population. We don't have the population for these restaurants. Everybody knows it. But alcohol is also not going to bring industries in here, and a lot of people always say it. And Muhlenberg County's been wet for years, and there's nothing over there to keep those people in Muhlenberg County.
That's on your elected officials to bring that stuff in.
Right.
So when you have people that say, I've got to travel to Owensboro to a liquor store if they want to buy liquor, like the few times a year that I want to drink, if I go to Owensboro to make that 30-minute drive, I'm not just going to waste 30 minutes just to go to the liquor store and buy whatever I want to have for my drink. I'm going to go shop at the Walmart there and get my gas there, and I'm going to eat there. So what would normally cost $20 at a liquor store, I just spent hundreds of dollars there. And that hundreds of dollars could have stayed right here in Beaver Dam for that trip there. And then on top of that, that's the economics part. And then you're going to sit there and your city elected officials, so I can't speak on the elected officials of Muhlenberg County or Hartford or Central City or anything like that. But what I can say is, since I've lived here in the last 6 years, the mayor of Beaver Dam has brought a lot of good stuff to this town. So I know that the mayor of this town cares about this town. And the public officials that work in this town care about this town, because I can see that. I think every citizen here that is a citizen of Beaver Dam can see that their elected officials work for them because they are elected by their people. So when we, as the people, say this is what we feel will generate revenue, they're going to take that revenue and they're going to use it to represent us the best way they can. So they're going to bring that stuff here.
And I'd like to add to that, as far as the jobs, economic development, I have talked to people in the cabinet in Frankfurt about stuff like this, and no, they're not going to come to Beaver Dam because Beaver Dam is wet. But what they do, they go down and they look around and they look for workforce. They look for electricity. They look for land, cheap electricity, cheap workforce, cheap labor. That's what they look for first. But then they come up, there's dozens and dozens of communities that fit that criteria. I had one gentleman in cabinet tell me what what they're doing. They're actually looking for ways to mark you off their list because there are so many people trying to get what few jobs there are out there. Things they do go down the line and start looking at is the quality of life and some of the activities around the community. That's why we can't, as a city, we can't go out here and give huge economic incentives for a company to come in here. The industrial park's not in our city limits, so we can't even often rebate on the property taxes. We just don't have that kind of funds. But what we can do, and that's one thing that this commission has worked very hard over the last, even the commission before us, over the last 10 years has worked very hard to try to get things to tip those scales in our favor. That's why they've done things like the park out here. Have stuff. When these industries come here, they see this kind of stuff. They see what this community is doing. But whether we like it or not, and this came again from someone in the economic development cabinet, when these industries look right here, having a drink with their dinner is very important to them. Most of them take it for granted that it's there. They're a little surprised when they find out it's not. So if that's just one thing, because business can come in here, and that's one thing they can't use to mark us off the list, that's just another plus as far as economic development goes. But that does happen, and that is one thing that these companies do look at, whether we want to believe it or like it or not. As far as I want to go back up a little bit on Larry, and I agree with what you're talking about as far as the money being spent. But Larry, you're talking about somebody would spend a $20 bottle on a bottle of bourbon over here or a bottle of booze over here, and it's $20 less for Tractor Supply. I disagree with that wholeheartedly, because that $20 on that bottle is being spent anyway. It's just being spent in Central City.
Not totality, logic. Again,
A huge 99% points of it.
Yeah, he's talking about keeping the business going here in the county that we got right now.
Yes.
What would happen to this county? Use Larry, for example. Larry sold out. Larry didn't think that guy was going to close it out. What would all the business do if something happened like that? Then where would people go? They would have to go to where the booze is, to find jobs.
But that's something, again, with the public coming in, we have no control over business and sales. But what I'm saying is, use that analogy that someone's going to spend $20 on liquor, and that's $20 less than they have to spend at Goodies or Tractor Supply. They're spending that $20 anyway. If we can get them spending that $20 here, they're more apt to go on to the Goodies and Tractor Supply while they're here instead of going to Goodies or Tractor Supply while they're in Owensboro.
You're having to go elsewhere to buy furniture.
And we're trying to keep that.
I mean, look at Cap over here. How many years he was here? Beaver Dam Furniture. I mean, furniture stores are gone.
And that's sad.
Could I say something? And that's why it probably should have went wet a lot sooner, because we would have kept cats here, the Beaver Dam Beaver Dam store here that's just closed, and a lot more of them that we have antique shops in now, and we need to expand just like you've done with the amphitheater and this old building that collapsed and was an eyesore on the corner. Now it's been beautified and looks good, and it is an attraction, and people can get out of the car and walk over and sit down and have a snack or whatever they want to do on a Sunday afternoon. That needs to expand on out farther, and then we can use the revenue to pick up, and people when they come in, yeah, there's that little town that has these antique shops, we'll go in there and buy some of those. They will stop in. Yeah. and have a McDonald's burger.
Thank you. The next person on the list was Matthew.
I want to thank Paul, first of all, for having this forum. I appreciate you allowing this to happen. And Mr. Atkins, I want to thank you for your service in our military.
Thank you.
There's been a lot said tonight about, one of the things I want to share is about the economic impact. There's no doubt revenue will come in. There's no doubt Paul's done a good job sharing it. My problem is that economic impact cannot outweigh the negative impact that it will have on our families. I have two teenage daughters and a daughter who's 21. I just don't feel that there is enough of a positive impact from the sale of alcohol, something that is legal. But my opinion is, just because it's legal doesn't mean it's right. Now, I know I'm not naive enough to think that everybody who drinks is going to become an alcoholic, just as Mr. Smith said. However, you go on the internet. The internet's a great thing. You can just pull up all kinds of stuff. Just type in the word alcohol in Google, and you're going to get all kinds of information, the majority of which is negative. Somebody mentioned legalizing pot. I had a medical conversation with a doctor a year or so ago about them legalizing marijuana out in Washington. Wanted to get his opinion. He said, well, this may surprise you, Matthew, but I don't really have a problem with that. And he said, in fact, medical studies show that there's less harm done to the human body from pot than it is alcohol. Now, I'm not advocating for the legalization of pot. I'm just saying it's a drug. It's something that is proven fact that it will be a negative aspect on a lot of people's lives. I don't want to put anybody else in danger. Now, I am a minister. I'll say that up front. And so is Larry. And we have seen the negative impacts of alcohol, maybe more than some of the rest of it here. I want to tell you a story. I had a good friend. Actually, he sold me a van several years ago. He was a used car salesman. He helped me get a great deal on a minivan. He was dating a young lady by the name, I'm not going to use names, but he was dating a young lady. And my friend had a problem with alcohol. He was actually a member of my church. Did I tell him he was dying and wanted to help because he was drinking alcohol? No. In fact, I deer hunted with him and tried to be a positive influence as much as I could. And he came to me on several occasions and talked to me about some problems that he and his living girlfriend were having. And I tried my best to counsel with him the best I could. Unfortunately, there were times where he would get drunk and he was abusive to his living girlfriend. And there was one time she put out a restraining order against him. He came and talked to me about that. And I tried to advise him how to handle that. Before I knew it, all of a sudden they got married. It was the most confusing thing I ever heard in my life. Here's this woman loves the man, but she put a restraining order against him because when he drank alcohol, he became abusive. And then she married him. Well, before long, it didn't last but about a year, she divorced him. Long story short, my friend one night got drunk, waited at the entrance of his ex-wife's neighborhood, And when her car pulled in, he took out a gun, he shot her, and then shot himself. And I had to go and comfort his poor mother. And I had to preach that man's funeral. It's hard. The hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And all we're saying is, why take a chance for $1? And Paul, if we need the revenue, I support the police, I support our military. I believe the citizens of Beaver Dam would be willing to pay more taxes if need be to provide our policemen with the equipment and the manpower that they need. I just don't think alcohol is the way to go. And that's, now, if this passes, am I going to move out of Ohio County or move out of Beaver Dam? Absolutely not. If a restaurant here in Beaver Dam decides to start selling alcohol, am I going to not go there? Probably not. And if it passes, is this something like what happened to my friend going to happen? We don't know that. I believe the statistics do say that alcohol affects. I've never drank alcohol in my life. Never had it, never touched it in my life. But it has an effect on a person. And they do things that they would not ordinarily do. And I believe with all my heart that if my friend had been sober, he would be alive today, and so would his ex-wife. And that poor mother would still have a son. And that young man would have a father. That's all we're saying. The beauty of our situation as a nation is we get to vote on it. And come February the 2nd, we'll have the opportunity to vote. I'll vote no. Some of you will vote yes. And hopefully after the end, after it's over, we can continue to be friends and support Beaver Dam the best we can. Thank you, sir.
Sharon, your name was on the list.
Yes. Shut it. I am, first of all, I am not perfect. And I don't think that no one in here is. But I'm not going to lie, I'll be one of those that on February the 2nd that will vote yes. Some may not like it, that doesn't matter. But I go to church every Sunday, but I'm not here to judge anybody. We've heard all these comments on the radio or what have you, people talk around town. So what? People are going to talk regardless. But on the economic side, I have to agree with Paul. And I hate, the gentleman has these sad stories. Yeah, but everybody that drinks is not going to end up like that. Everybody that drinks is not an alcoholic. I drink. I'm not an alcoholic, but I'm not going to get out here and drink and drive. I'll go to a restaurant, order a meal, have a drink, so what? I'm not driving. But, that's just me. And economically, this is what we need. We need a change. We've got a lot of, how do I say this? Seasoned people. I won't say old people or elderly. We have a lot of seasoned people. And some of them drink. You can't hide it from God. And some of these people that go to church do drink, but they're not going to tell you that. Well, I will. It don't matter. I can't hide it from God, so I'm not going to hide it from somebody that almost sat on that pew but on Sunday morning. And I don't see the harm in alcohol. And I'm one that I'm not in favor of paying any more extra taxes. I'll just tell you that. And, a lot of people say alcohol is a temptation. To some people, it might be. I work in a convenience store. Sells crack pipes. Well, I sell them. That's not going to tempt me to go out here and smoke crack. I don't do it. It's not my style. But I will take a drink. And economically, this Beaver Dam has to change. You know, we're not in 1920s anymore. You know, so we need to change. And where they say businesses will not grow, yes, they will. Paul works for the Japanese. I work for a convenience store run by Indians. They don't stay here. And yes, they do drink. They will lie and tell you that they don't drink. But I know different. You know? So, you know, don't hide it. If you drink, you drink. But that don't mean everybody's going to get out here and act a fool, try to go run over somebody or what have you. Get it, go home and chill out. But I'm voting yes for a change. And that's all I have.
I just want to wrap up tonight to let everybody know, first of all, and I think I mentioned this earlier, I respect those who are going to vote no, and I respect those who are going to vote yes. That's your decision. And I have no problem with that one way or the other. I talked to Larry on the radio today. I have the utmost respect for what you're doing, what you believe in. Like John said, I know you're doing what you believe right. We just sometimes have to agree or disagree, and that's fine too. My main reason, again, like I said tonight, was so I just wanted to get some information out. I wanted people to hear the numbers, the dollars that we're talking about. I wanted people to hear what I'm finding out from all these other communities I'm talking to. And this was just part of them. I didn't go through all of them. I didn't want to bore you anymore, and I probably already had. But not one community did I have tell me that's the worst thing we ever did. In fact, most of them are kind of like the lady said right here, we should have done this years ago, back when the economy was really booming. But, again, that's just the stuff that we're finding out. I wanted everybody here to hear this information and know it. I would hope we would share it. And let the people on the February 2nd, November, try to get in the wrong election, February 2nd, make that decision based on their conscious and informed decision. I guess that's my biggest thing. I hear all this stuff coming up and it's just not right. So let's get some information out there that is right and make an informed decision, whatever it is. But I do encourage you, regardless, I may not agree with you, please go vote February 2nd. That is the biggest right and freedom we have in this country, and sadly, it's the one taken probably the most for granted of anybody. Freedom we've got. This is just something I'm pretty passionate about. My responsibility is solely to take care and look after the residents in the city of Beaver Dam. I'm looking at it from an economic standpoint. I'm looking at it from all the other places I've talked to, communities I've talked to. From a personal standpoint, I'm going to be the first one to tell you. I know I've had people say don't do it because it's nobody's business how you vote. I don't think it's any great secret here how I will vote on February 2nd. But I'm going to tell you, I will vote yes. And I have no problem, and I'm not ashamed of it. Like I say, I like a good shot of bourbon every now and then. It's pretty good stuff. But it's responsible. It's just like that Big Mac. You eat too many of them, you're going to blow it up. Anything in excess is bad. That's what I've always learned growing up in the church, excess. And that's what I try to keep everything. This is not a religious issue as far as I'm concerned, so I try to keep that out of it. It's an economic issue. And something that the citizens of Beaver Dam have to decide, and they get that chance next Tuesday, the week of the month. So I encourage you, please go vote.
I'll say one more thing.
Yeah, we're over here. Okay.
All these statistics and reports of what you went over, I can say that they're right on because I have done the same work and brought up the same statistics and reports on every one of those. And I got the same thing. And another thing, like people they have more wrecks in dry counties of people drinking and driving than they do in wet counties.
I mean, let's get back to when y'all done the unveiling of the amphitheater. Remember the pre-concert? Remember how many cars was out of they come here out of the United States for a pre-concert. Yeah. There was quite a few there.
And the largest concert we've had, I believe, is the Newsboys.
Newsboys was a long too.
And that's a Christian group. And people came from, I sat next to a guy from Illinois. So, somebody made the comment, they're not coming from the booth, they're coming from the music.
But then it turned around. At two of the other concerts, you wouldn't believe the people who have asking, where is the beer garden? A lot of that depends on your crowd. Yes.
One thing to be sure, we're not voting wet and dry for Beaver Dam next week. I've lived here 40 years. It's been wet for 40 years. All we're voting for is legal sales and get the revenue out of it. That's all. And I know some sad stories about the minister. We're talking about losing family members. Still in a dry county. He got alcohol somewhere. I mean, you know, it's just, alcohol didn't cause the problem. The guy had some emotional problems to begin with. It wasn't the alcohol that caused it. It may have enhanced it, but he had some issues.
Do you have any more questions?
Yeah, well, just one more thing. And of course, you hear people all the time say you're judging me. You know, just because you drink, we don't judge nobody drinks. You know, the Lord doesn't judge.
That's right.
You know, I say you judge somebody, you're telling them they're going to hell. I'm not telling nobody they're going to go to hell if they drink. But the only thing I know has been, when I was state coordinator with Operation Lifesaver, I know the governor is slow about putting out numbers. You know, I try to find statistics out, and they would be 5 and 6 years behind. The only thing I've got to say now is in 2012, Ohio County had 5 fatalities, alcohol-related fatalities. They had 27 alcohol injuries. Whether this goes wet or dry, let's just hope that don't rise crazy.
Thank you all for coming out tonight.
Thank you. Right.
Be there on February 10th.